Effect of pH on the stability in slopes in mine-waste rock dump. A case study between geochemistry and geotechnics. Well, Mine West Rock placed in controlled deposit was investigated to determine the influence of potential of hydrogen variation has with the strange properties of materials during the geomechanical and geochemical process. For the methodology, it was necessary to obtain data um, on the condition in which three structures are found, each with two representative research stations. Study over a period of 6 semesters, and topographic information was also added. And contrast of a representative value of geochemistry and geotechnique were carried out by means of the interpretation of the acid-base accounting tests carried out in the laboratory and the measurements of the horizontal and vertical displacement in situ. The results obtained illustrate the pH controls and simultaneous oxidation of sulfides and wear of primary silicate minerals at pH 3 to 4, and second by oxidation of the sulfide with calcite solution that maintained a neutral pH. In addition, a direct relationship was observed between the changes in pH and the displacement that occur in the prints of the research station. In the introduction, your technical problems must be analyzed and predicted so that they are solved in the convenient times. In recent years, the influence of environmental factor has been considered as an important component for physical stability studies, as this will be basic for subsequent remediation projects for areas used by mining, especially in final disposal structure for mining waste rock. The present paper analyzed the chemical and mechanical behavior for the mining waste rock, where a mine waste rock piles was developed considering a relationship between the pH and the vertical and horizontal displacement of the slopes. During the investigation period, it was observed that there is a close relationship with the decrease in the pH of the rock, since when chemical altered, it also show a degradation in its mechanical properties demonstrated by the displacement recorded in the topography reading. The chemical property present different when compared with the initial characteristics of the rock. The reason for this work being to address the relationship with the geotechnical behavior. The mine in Peruvian Andes is in Peruvian Andes. The study area is located between levels 403,000 and 4,000 420 meters above sea level in the Meseta del Bombón, a north extension of the Union Pampas between the western and eastern mountain ranges of the Andes, having an ecological Halkaflor climate according to the descriptions, with two well-marked seasons, one dry and the other rainy. The objective of the open pit mine is to ensure the physical stability of the slope booth or open pit, and these waste piles, assuming the most unfavorable condition existing during the progressive period and period after closure, such as seismic and climatic events altering the behavior of the materials. These relationships of the patterns of chemical alteration and the morphology of materials becomes very important for the evaluation and analyzing of behavior. The methodology we study the geology, the lithology, alteration, and the geochemical sampling in field stage. That sampling network was carried out talking as monitoring points. The entire mine component of the mine was covered. This sampling network was redefined according to that was observed in the field of their subsequent shipments of the sample to the laboratory, and the prediction of the acid generation by static tests, and the acid-base ratio was studied, the acid neutralization potential, pH bulk. Well, for the result and interpretation, geochemistry results including sulfate leaks. The following result show us the considered possible acid rain generation, and values greater than 3 do not have any potential for generation of acid drainage. The results show the results of the laboratory tests carried out in the 6th semester, and the physical for the control of the vertical and horizontal displacement were used. The evaluation of the maximum dynamic deformation, we use the graph of MEC DC and SID, the graph resulting from the analysis of finite elements of them in 2 dimensions. The first step is the widely used methodology is the evaluation for the material's strain loss potential. Not using their procedures, if the loss material strain could be significant. The analysis include the effect of application of seismic movement, so that the permanent deformation of the material is a foundation of magnitude. According to this criteria, is indicate that at most we should have a 50 millimeters displacement in the preferred direction. Well, for conclusion, during 6th semester of the research, a global conclusion was research that the pH condition have a great influence of the chemical characterizations of the mine rock waste in the study area for a pile, which is reflected in the geochemical properties, which at the same time is evident in topographic measurements. The horizontal and vertical displacement promote the have a significant relation with the pH changes, as shown in the analysis of the result, keeping as inversely proportional relationship. When decreased the pH, it was analyzed that the values of the displacement increased, or speaking in degree of acid of the rock, the relationship is directly proportional to increasing the acidity of the rock waste. Directly proportional to increase, we can see the greater the displacement in the slope that make it up. The unit of measure is for equipment parts per 2000 of the chemical Finally, it can be said that the chemical characterizations that geotechnical properties under natural conditions are susceptible to change compared to the initial characterization of the mining rock base. In general, the material has lost resistance due to the periodic chemical alteration it has suffered, making the area vulnerable to a possible landslide. Thank you.